Creating something takes great talent. Destroying things, well, that's easy. But wrecking a song by Japan's biggest breakout star in recent memory? Hi there and welcome back to Japan, and in the January of 2023 I'd become quite a fan of this Ado character who was bursting onto the J-pop scene with her incredible vocal range and passionate deliveries that would surge from low roaring notes to high-pitched diva territory in the blink of an eye. Just an amazing voice that everyone was recognising. But despite such hits as Top Musica and Usiwa, I think I'm pronouncing that right, being the ones that were getting a lot of press from overseas YouTubers, I found myself getting a kick out of the hip-hop inspired Odo, a song that played to my enjoyment of Japanese rap whilst also keeping all of Ado's signature vocal skills on full display. But other eyes, they had been watching this song too, the eyes of the ones who stuff burgers into our faces and yet remain greedier than any of us. This brings us on to the part of the story where I was out one day without any accommodation or means of transport and decided therefore to sneak into an all-night McDonald's to get myself a couple of coffees and sit on the upstairs tables pretending to not be sleeping. Now, to set the scene, this was a quiet McDonald's out in the countryside where the only thing you could hear that late at night was some background music playing over the in-store radio and the sound of the kitchen downstairs as they would cook some food for people who would occasionally swing by in the midnight hours for a quick burger. And in amongst those kitchen sounds was the sound of the little alarm that the deep fat fryers have. It's one that you might recognise if you've ever been into a Japanese McDonald's. It sounds a little bit like this. I mean, not an especially pleasant sound, but just one that you'd occasionally hear every few minutes when someone's preparing some potatoes in the deep fat fryer. You know, it's not really any different from when you hear the melody playing over the speakers of the convenience store when someone walks through the door, or those little tunes you hear every time you get on and off the trains in Japan that signify which station or line you're on. So whilst I rested my head on the table, peering around the corner of my coffee cup just to see if there was any staff who wanted to check if I was still there, you can imagine my surprise when I heard this exact same chip fat fryer alarm tone, but now coming from the in-shop radio sound system, over and over again. Only for Ado's rap-inspired classic Odo, that song that I really liked, to suddenly start bouncing in alongside perfectly beat-synced up to this alarm tone. At first I thought it was just like a 20-second joke jingle, a fun idea to promote McDonald's using a quick remix of Japan's biggest breakout singer of the year. I expected maybe a couple of lines of rap and then a voice to come in advertising a new Happy Meal or something. But no, it kept going. The whole song, with extra verses. But also that constant deep fat fryer alarm tone over and over again. It's hard to fully explain how annoying that tone is that I played you a moment ago on repeat play over the top of a song you really like unless you've heard it. And yes, there are links as always below so you can check out the remix I'm talking about afterwards. It is, however, an incredibly monotone, unmusical beeper playing a 3-note pattern of which 2 of the notes are B, over and over. Thus, this was my introduction to the T-Rory mix of the song, T-Rory incidentally being a phonetic translation of that deep fat fryer sound, and in placing that in the title, it demonstrates that they are actually proud of what they did. And what they did was murder one of my favourite songs. But actually it was much worse than that. See, there were additional verses in this song, and they were taken from a track I later found out was called Paku by an artist called Asmi. Now, I must be honest, I was not all that familiar with Asmi at the time and only subsequently delved into her music, which I am happy I did. I do recommend you check out the song Paku at very least, and as always, like I say, it's linked below. However, it's fair to say that Ado's track makes up the vast majority of what we're hearing in this T-Rory mix. The majority of the lyrics, the beat, the song structure is basically Ado's song with the cool addition of Asmi, and then entirely destroyed by a lazy, unimaginative McDonald's reference. You know, the more I think about that deep fat fryer sound, it actually reminds me a lot of an alarm clock. See, I mean, it's a deep fat fryer alarm after all, and what is the point of an alarm? It's an overpowering and intentionally annoying noise designed to make you address a problem and stop it, at which point the sound will stop too. So why the hell would you put that in a song? I should also point out my awareness that some of the original song's staff may well have returned for this particular remix, but no, I don't really see that as grounds for forgiveness, because whether they were or weren't involved doesn't change the fact that this remix seems to be unnecessary, if not for the corporate tie-in factor. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The point of this channel is to be honest, but I don't want to be here just bringing you reviews of things that I don't like. In fact, I never really do a review of anything that I especially dislike because of the fact that, well, no one wants to hear that. It's not especially productive. So really the reason I'm doing this video is more so you can take away how good the original songs are that are destroyed and how easy it is to destroy something really great. See, there's no amount of corporate meetings that will give you something as great as the genuinely creative output of an artist. And this really demonstrates how wrong it can go and how much we should appreciate what the songs were like before this happened. But maybe, dear listener, you think I'm being overly negative and you could say, well, it's harmless fun, you can just go back and listen to the original. No. Well, the fact that there's more videos on YouTube where people have tried to remove the deep fat fryer noise from the song kind of proves that some people just want to hear Asmi and Ado together, which, was a really nice idea. I mean, you may even say to me, well, you're just being a sour hater, Howard. You're just taking the easy road in bad-mouthing a big corporation, especially considering it was clearly them who organised for this collaboration to happen. If they paid for it, well, they can do whatever they like with it. Well, yes, and you would be right, dear listener. It's their money and they can do whatever they want with it. But that's kind of like me asking how you'd feel if I got Gordon Ramsay and paid him to come cook dinner for you every day. But the only condition is that I get to be in the kitchen too, throwing around bags of dog feces. I mean, you'd probably call the whole thing off pretty quickly. McDonald's even paid for a pretty expensive looking CGI video to be made to accompany this monstrosity of a remix, but all it leaves me thinking is how good the original song was, by comparison. See, if this song has achieved anything, it's just reinforced my respect for Ado's original classic. It's even turned me into a budding Asmi fan and made me see McDonald's, by contrast, as even more of a soulless entity than before. But as much as I'd like to just leave it there, it's possible McDonald's might actually have learnt their lesson. See, a year and a half later, in the summer of 2023, McDonald's had another celebrity tie-in song, but this time with Ano. I assure you, similar name, but couldn't be more of a different artist. Furthermore, this couldn't be much more of a different approach to a commercial song if it tried. Apparently, Wednesday Campanella's Hidefumi, who is also known for having a string of hits himself, was behind the music of this song, and Ano was the lyric writer, and she's known for doing lyrics that are quite personal, quite interesting for pop songs, and take people to a place that's often a little bit outside of the normal comfort zone. Whether due to luck or maybe learning their mistakes, McDonald's had seemed to have corrected for the previous era. See, whereas before we had a soulless corporation trying to ride on the coattails of mega talented artists, here we now had mega talented artists trying to find the soul within a somewhat corporate remit for a song. Lyrically, Ano takes a light-hearted swipe at the idea of workers doing their best to be positive, even if a big, bright McDonald's-style fake smile isn't really their thing. And let's face it, most of us know someone who works in a McDonald's, and as much as positivity is a good thing, that heartfelt reality check of knowingly acknowledging that the job is pretty bland, well, that's actually refreshing, especially in a McDonald's advert. Yes, the video is full of corporate red and yellow and fast food motifs, but it never actually shoves the McDonald's logo in your face. It only appears on the side of Ano's cup as she sits at a table in just a couple of short scenes. The truth is, this is just how to do a corporate tie-in well. When I first heard Ado and Asmi's song get that awful remix, it was just made so much worse by the greedy hands of a company tearing away at something that had been cool. It was like watching a middle-aged businessman start a TikTok account where he told you what 6 songs were lit this week. And don't worry, I get the irony of me saying that right now. But Ano's 2023 release of Smile Like an Eye felt more like a middle-aged businessman paying a talented young busker to sing them a song and then sharing it out to the world. It felt like everything in the right order. It felt like them getting the creatives to write a song rather than taking the creatives' work and trying to shove their identity and signature all over it instead. But anyway, these are just my thoughts, as always, about something that really bugged me, a song I really liked that got ruined, and also about a nice comparison with what happened with Ano's song later. I know, Ano, Ado, very similar names. As always, the links are in the description below, so you can check out all of the examples I've given you there, including the original songs, the Ado song, the Ano song, the remix, all of that. Get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.